What's going on, leaders? It's your boy Ray White, and welcome to the Mid Level Leadership Club, giving you actionable tips for you as a middle manager to build inclusive communities where every identity belongs and thrives. My name is Ray White. Juice that you're being here, and want to make sure that you are aware that you can catch this on a regular basis by subscribing to the Mid Level Leadership Podcast on your favorite podcasting app. You can also find me on YouTube and see me on LinkedIn as well, or even tap in with the Mid Level Up newsletter, which you can catch at the show notes. But let's talk about how you can stay ahead of the game as a leader and not always feel like you're behind or left out or doing the wrong things. That's going to help your organization, help your team be strong, be developed, and feel like they are executing at a very high level through your leadership. When I started my leadership journey about 12 years ago, it became real apparent that it was on me to help the team succeed. Not my mama, not another person, not the peers, not my one-up, me. It was on all of my shoulders, relatively speaking, to ensure that the team had what they need to be successful and to drive forward in their organization. When I stepped into that particular role, it was a light bulb moment for me to say, oh, snap, I need to be sure I know what I'm doing. I need to be sure that I'm ready and available to help guide the team towards any decision that needs to be made and help get them to a position where they could be successful and they could be accomplishing the roles that they're doing. And I am the person supporting them along the way. So to do that, it required me to do a little bit of extra work on my part, which, as we should be doing as leaders and middle managers, those who are sandwiched in between the executives and the team leads, those that are sandwiched in between the executives and the direct reports that we are leading, we got to be able to anticipate the needs of those around us. So what I'm going to provide today is 4 activities that you should be doing on a regular basis to keep yourself ahead of the game and not be losing sight of what's important to help your team become successful. A lot of this stems from my athletic days. I did football and track in college and played basketball in high school as well. And we didn't just show up to a game thinking like, oh, you know what, we here, let's play. No, we had a lot of preparation before we even had our first game, especially on the football side where we had 3 weeks of camp, studying film, practicing plays, understanding the playbook, watching the other opponent's film, being able to prepare ourselves for even the first game, and doing that week after week until the season went on, until we made the playoffs or eventual championship games. But a lot of that was the preparation that we took in order to get to that point. Those same similarities can translate to our leadership roles as well. And we got to make sure that we are the ones that are doing the work on our side, doing the necessary actions and practices to anticipate what could be coming around the bend. And that's how we stay ahead of the game as leaders. Have you ever been a part of a leadership team or been a part of an organization where it seemed as if nothing was prepared? It seemed as if nobody knew exactly what's going on, or we're always playing catch up rather than being at least right at the forefront or even before the crisis or an event occurs and they're ready to take action. It's super frustrating if you've been in that position. Now think of you as a leader leading other people through the massive chaos, through the fog, through the uncertainty and unknown, and not really necessarily having a grasp on the situation, how frustrating it could be for them. And when we don't have that level of understanding and preparation, not to say we're going to be perfect, not to say we got to know every situation, but that level of preparation is necessary for our teams to feel like, okay, I could put my trust in that leader, or I know I'm going to be okay because we've seen this example before and we are well equipped to handle it, even though this may be our first time seeing it in this particular way. We don't take care of ourselves, or we don't anticipate the needs of those around us. We find ourselves with a turnover of our staff, disgruntled employees, frustrated employees, and even frustrated leaders when we're not taking the necessary steps to stay ahead of the game. So let's talk about what are the 4 ways that middle managers can stay ahead of the game in their leadership. Number 1, understand value-driven activities and trends. Every organization has a strategy. Every organization has a trend. Once I realized that this was an important thing for me to stay ahead of the game as a leader, I started doing my very best to study what those trends are in my industry. So in healthcare IT, I had to not only study, I had to study on the healthcare side. What are some of the uh, clinical practices, the specific measures that are occurring in our state that are impacting our patients, even some of the procedures that are necessary for medical care to be examined and continued. And then also had to study the IT trends. What are the latest and greatest trends when it comes to technology in our systems? Our domain application that we leverage, what are some of the practices that they're using from other organizations that they're asking us to adopt and be knowledgeable of those things, marry them together, and help communicate that to our organization, especially, or to our team, especially if we're trying to meet an organizational strategy that we are set out to do. And that's even another aspect as well. It took me a moment to understand, read our strategic documents to recognize what is a priority for them, for our executives, for our end users, for our stakeholders, and see the work from their lens, see what's valuable to them, and then communicate that back to our teams to say, okay, hey, they're asking us to do these 3 things. Let's go back and do these 5 things. And this is part of the work when it comes to being a leader. We have to understand the value-driven activities and trends that are happening in our work. So take the time to read the news, take the time to read your strategic documents, take the time to talk to your stakeholders, and that will help you be ahead of what is necessary for your organization. Google's your friend if you critically use that well. The next action, regularly engage superiors, teams, and customers. I said that a little bit in the last point that we have to be able to have conversations with our stakeholders and our executives to understand their work. To stay ahead of the game, you have to talk to people that's in the game. We have to be able to have our one-on-ones and around in these areas and build a relationship with the people who are in the organization, because they're going to tell you specifically what they value and what is something that they see as important for us to be more intentional and take action with. And this also works with the people that we are working that work with us as our direct reports, having conversations with them, asking what they see, asking what they experience, and transition that to communicate it to the strategic goals of the organization. As I started rounding and as I started doing more one-on-ones across the organization, it helped my communication tremendously because I was able to know what I was talking about. I was able to speak the language in various levels and various cultures across the organization because I took the time to sit, engage, and understand them, and really do my very best to relate and connect the dots. So for myself, so I can connect the dots for the team that I work with too. So find regular times to meet with your team on a regular basis. Find regular times to meet with your stakeholders on a regular basis, and do the critical analysis to connect the dots towards those strategic goals, and will help you be in the game and stay ahead of the game as you move forward too. And there's a dope resource as well by my friend Jacob Espinoza. He created a manager's guide to one-on-ones that I'll drop the link in the show notes. No affiliation link at all. It's just a dope resource I want you all to take onto as you're leading in your organization. The third action that you could take to stay ahead of the game, provide resources for effective skills building. You have to help build your team's skills up, help them train, help them stay on the cutting edge of the knowledge, the technology, the skills necessary to do their work effectively, and being aware of what's going on from a learning and development space can give you the upper hand in having the team that is more effective and efficient to accomplish the work that's being asked of them. Early in my leadership, and still to this day, I do my very best to be knowledgeable of what conferences are coming up, what are some of the resources that are out there, and share that with the team, being able to tap in with our application, especially what webinars they have set up or training documents and guides they have set up as well, and passing it off to our team members so that way they can feel more equipped to execute the work at a very efficient way or an effective way versus some roundabout way that they may never accomplish if they did not receive the skill set. Myself as a leader has to be knowledgeable of what are the skills necessary to accomplish the goal, not only find the right people who are willing and capable to accomplish that, but give them the resources in order to do that well, and it will help in reaching the organizational goals and the value-driven metrics that we are asking our teams to accomplish, because we have the right people in the right places to execute that work. And honestly, your team wants to do great work. I mean, there's very few people, very few organizations where somebody who's just showing up just to show up. People who show up really, truly want to do great work. So let's give them the opportunity to do that great work. Find the skills, find the trainings, find the resources, hand it over to the team and say, hey, go execute it, do it at its highest effective ability. And that will help your whole team stay ahead of the game when it comes to work. The fourth thing is seek and implement feedback for improvement. We all are learning. We all are growing. We're continuing to progress in our skill sets. We're never going to be perfect, but we're always progressing. So constructive feedback is really critical for our own growth. And if we take the time to seek that out, to ask the right questions, to understand what are the gaps that are in our expertise, or even what are the things that we're excelling in, it can help navigate our skills to become more effective in various ways and to remove waste or delegate things that are not really within our skill set and strength, so we can stay in the pocket, so we can stay in the game, and we can continue to develop ourselves on a regular basis. We, as leaders, want to encourage and create spaces where this type of encouragement is happening and opportunities for people to provide that feedback and provide the ways that we can innovate in a way that doesn't attack a person's identity, but helps provide support and encouragement to the process that we're focusing on, because we're all trying to get better at the same time. You have to find the right language. You have to find the right words. If you're meeting regularly with the people and stakeholders around you, you'll be able to know, again, what they value, how they communicate, and how they respond, to be able to share that information with them in an appropriate way to focus on what the task at hand and excel in their skill set. Some people are really gifted in this. Some people take some time to help develop this. Radical candor and critical conversations are really good resources to help you navigate and find the right language to execute that and be able to get your team in the right position and feeling confident to be in the right position to be successful in their work. So the 4, value-driven activities and trends, regularly engage your superiors, teams, and customers, provide resources for effective skill building, and seek and implement feedback for improvement are 4 different ways. And you know, your boy got another one under the sleeve. The last one to help you stay ahead of the game is build a community. Leadership is lonely, y'all. As I talk to other leaders and peers who have made the jump from being an individual contributor on the team to somebody who's leading that team, that jump, it could be really difficult and hard, especially if you've never done that before, especially if yesterday you were just hanging out with them, getting coffee and hanging out on the weekends, and now you're one of their leaders. And, you know, it's a weird dynamic. You can navigate that differently, but sometimes it might be best to hang out with or be more in close contact with people who are in that leadership space that you can connect with, that you can have conversations with, that you can just I can help you navigate the journey of leadership, because you should not be journeying through that alone. And it can also, having a community can be beneficial for you to know what are the trends out there, what are the latest skill sets, what are the latest aspects of leadership that you can embody and adapt to your own leadership, and not have to figure it out all by yourself or sift through a bunch of books and documents, which books are great, read them books, but being able to have a dialogue with somebody who has been there before, who's in the same boat as you, can really help you in your own development and skill set. So I would encourage you to find a community where you can tap yourself into. I have found that for myself in my journey of leadership. And actually, I'm looking to develop that similar type of experience for middle managers who are in this space and need community, need people in the same position, in the same boat as them, to develop in their leadership and increase their workplace culture in an effective way. And if you're a person who is interested in wanting to be a part of that community, to the Mid-Level Leadership Club, holla at me. There's a link in the below where you can join the wait list to be a part of the club. And the community is going to meet regularly, share resources, have dialogues of what does it take to become better leaders for themselves, and even get some access to additional resources to develop their leadership game to a higher level. So there you have it. The 5, I said 4 earlier, but the 5 ways that you as a middle manager can stay ahead of the game as we incorporate building community as a part of that work as well. And I want to hear from you. What are some tactics that you are using in your leadership to help you stay ahead of the game and help you be effective in your leadership, because so your team can thrive under your work? Let me know by dropping that in the comments, or follow me at Ray Devontae. Tag me, Sarah, take a screenshot of this episode, tag me in it, and tell me your thoughts about your episode as well, because I would love to hear them. And wanted to help you as a middle manager build inclusive communities where every identity belongs and thrives. Until next time, continue to share your story with others. Check y'all on the next episode, and I'll talk to y'all soon. Peace.